We were in an undisclosed echo chamber here.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, in a secret location. Where are you, Wendell?
I'm at my desk.
Lucky you. I'm traveling around like an idiot. So let's talk about what's going on in the world. Pretty much nothing, same as last week. Just more developments on the stuff. Some dude in California may go to prison for 13 years for offending Bank of America with kitty chalk. Now, you sent this story over. How does this make you feel?
Yeah, it's really... So, it's not a First Amendment issue, apparently, because it's about vandalism. And the vandalism thing doesn't mention the whole First Amendment thing. So, the lawyer's not allowed to talk about the First Amendment implications of writing anti-Bank of America things in washable chalk on their sidewalk in front of the building.
I mean, can a judge just do that? Can a judge say you're not allowed to mention First Amendment or, freedom of speech or freedom of expression? Can a judge do that?
Well, it's happened once before. There was another case where this kind of thing came up, and it says, well, he's charged with violating this statute, and this statute says he can spend a year in jail for every violation, and so it's like 13 counts or something, and so hence the 13 years in jail. But, yeah, the prosecutor is clearly in the hands of the corporate thing, so, I mean, that's kind of upsetting.
I'm going to tie this into technology by mentioning the Bank of America, and I've heard this from reliable sources like the Internet, is the most hacked bank in America. Now,
yeah, that's probably not surprising.
And here's some vandalism. I don't know. I don't think I sent you this article, did I? It's 50 stunning 3D street chalk art things. Look at all this vandalism here. Scroll through this. Man, this is just terrible. Okay, let's talk about Apple because Apple has been forced to give millions of dollars in refunds because of a class action lawsuit. Now, what was happening is they had several different apps, like some kind of, was it a zombie game app and a few other games, Treasure Story, City Story. Have you played these? I saw you playing. I thought I saw you playing Zombie Cafe.
No.
Anyway, so there was microtransactions in the game, and apparently any kid that's playing the game can just initiate a microtransaction. So some dude in Pennsylvania sees that his 9-year-old daughter has spent $200 on all these various games through the Apple Store. So they've got a class action lawsuit, and Apple's giving millions in refunds. That's very funny. For what was the term actually? Something exploitation, unlawful
Child
exploitation. Yeah.
Yep.
Exploiting children. Moving on. Game deals. The summer sale is still going on at Good Old Games, so buy all kinds of crap, would you? And there's this other stuff. If you want to buy stuff there. So Tesla, they've been kind of fighting to get their cars into the different markets around the country because a lot of the different car manufacturers do not want Tesla sold in this state, and Tesla likes to sell direct. They don't like to go through dealers. They want to have Tesla stores, almost like Apple stores in all the different places. So they've won in North Carolina, so they'll be able to set up like a Tesla store in North Carolina. So that's interesting.
They were also having the same kind of problem in New York. Tesla in New York was also, it's like, oh, you must go through a dealership. We need Tesla dealers here. But that really doesn't fit with Tesla's business model.
I mean, why couldn't they have like a dealer? I mean, but kind of cool. I wouldn't mind being a Tesla dealer,
It'll make it that much more expensive, and the margins on this is very small right now.
Oh, so they're trying to keep the margins as low as possible.
Yeah, because it's new technology. I mean, it's already $50,000 and $60,000 vehicles at the low end. So I mean,
but what about when, let's say, like down the road, they're starting to sell a lot and they're able to reduce their costs? Then maybe could we think about doing a dealer? I mean,
yeah, it may be true that that's necessary, but right now I think dealers would mess it up. Dealers would sell cars that they've had their own mechanics refurbish themselves and blah, blah, blah. And it's very important that Tesla control the experience because these vehicles are unlike any vehicles dealers have ever sold. So they're not prepared to sell them.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to kind of break the paradigm. And I can see other car companies saying like, well, if Tesla's going to sell direct, then why do we have to, have a middleman and let them take a chunk? Why don't Jaguar, why don't we sell direct? So do you think we're going to start seeing something like that, like Jaguar shops that are owned and operated by Jaguar and Ford dealerships that are operated by Ford, and there's no it's not like Maroney and Sons dealership?
Many years ago, I knew a guy that had took advantage of like a friends and family program at Saturn. And with Saturn, you could buy direct from Saturn, and he literally picked up his vehicle. There was like a delivery at a dealership, and the guy had an extra car on like the tractor trailer that has the cars, and the tractor trailer driver unloaded it from the thing in the dealership's parking lot, and the dealership owner absolutely lost his mind and went insane because it was not a sale through the dealership, but the guy that I know saved a ton of money buying direct through Saturn. It was technically not breaking the law because it was friends and family of the company, but technically you're not supposed to do that because a lot of places do have it's state law where you can't sell direct if you have dealerships that are, you know, franchised. It's either not directly in law or it's in the franchise agreement not to sell to the public.
Right. Well, it looks like Tesla's going to have to change a lot of laws to make this happen, so I guess we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. Open the drawer that contains your tinfoil hat and place it upon your head.
Tinfoil hat time. All right, last week, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we mentioned that the $27 million is what it was going to cost to store all of your phone calls. And at that price, it's so cheap that they can't afford not to, so they say. Well, it's a little bit bigger than that. We know about the new facility that they're building, the NSA that is. They're building out in Utah. It's a massive facility to store practically everything that comes in and out. Well, how big is that? They want the storage capacity of a zettabyte. Now, how big is a zettabyte? A zettabyte is 1,073,741,824 terabytes. Now, if you get that in 4 terabyte hard drives, if you're buying all those, it would cost you roughly $47 billion. I happen to have a zettabyte NAS at home, and it was expensive, but I stole it, so, you know. So that's what all is going on. How are they storing this data? They're not going to be doing. I've seen people online saying like, "Oh my God, they're spending $47 billion," and that doesn't take into account redundancy, because if you've got that many hard drives, you better have some redundancy, because I bet one of them is going to go bad. So how would you store all this data, Wendell?
Well, okay, so this is clearly they're not storing everything.
Well, yeah, obviously they're not storing everything. They can't. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So I have no doubt that they're processing this much data, but they're clearly not storing it all. But they probably have other, they could even be using tape technology for long-term archiving. But there was a list of keywords that leaked on the internet, and it was like if there's unencrypted traffic and it contains keywords like freedom or raid, because terrorists look for raid, I guess.
And now, since the technology is such these days that whenever you speak something on a YouTube video, that can be tracked and monitored. So you just said some of the keywords. So now this video is going to get flagged. Damn it.
Yeah, the YouTube video is going to auto-transcribe it, and it's going to just be flat. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. But the other thing to consider is that
guys.
Think about it in different terms. So it's like there's 233 million Americans, and at a modest compression setting, you can get months, if not years, of recorded phone audio on a 4 terabyte hard drive at a very high quality. If you turn that up to insane compression, and you're talking about 0.5 megabyte per minute, that is an insane amount of storage on a 4 terabyte drive. So if you're only targeting 10,000 influential individuals or 100,000 influential individuals, a single 4 terabyte drive goes a long way in storing that person's information.
I've got a few problems with this. Number one, I know they have to stop terrorists. I know they have to, I know they have to harvest data, and I know they have to find ways to find them. But, Chris Hayes released a video, and this is very interesting. This is on MSNBC, right? So he really released a video saying all the things that I outlined, and I was like, oh, we can just use this video. And there's this really interesting article here on TechDirt that talks about why the NSA surveillance program is illegal and unconstitutional. We'll focus on that in a minute. I want to mention Chris Hayes' video because what he says is that there's a lot of government officials and other news organizations that are reporting things that Snowden has said. They're saying other things. They're telling, basically they're saying things on the media like, hey, we're monitoring Google and we're looking for these things and we're monitoring these services. They're basically telling the people that want to do us harm what to avoid. And they're not getting in trouble for this. These are like obviously secrets of the state that need to be kept secret for our own security, et cetera, but they're not getting in trouble for this, but Snowden is for leaking pretty much the same information. Double standard, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's really disturbing. It's an interesting double standard, I guess.
The interesting thing for me is the fact that this is on MSNBC. That's like a major news network. I did not expect something like this to be on the news. I expected Paula Dean, talking about the N-word, which is kneecaps.
Snowden is not the first leaker.
What did she say? I don't know what she said. All I know is that the N-word was nincompoop, right?
Something happened and it turned into a controversy, and it was just something completely insane. It was just everything is I don't even know. It's just people have gotten out of control.
So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now. It's like Paula Deen is being shoved down everybody's throats. Anyway, so the Tech Dart article. You guys should read this on your own. I don't think we need to go into this in great detail because our audience right now, we're all just agreeing with each other and patting each other on the back. And if you go to Reddit, you can't even go to the R Technology subreddit anymore. It is all about the NSA, and there's hardly anything in there about technology. It's all about police state surveillance and that sort of thing.
But this isn't the first leak. Like, there have been these whistleblowers coming out for almost 10 years. And saying these kinds of things are happening.
Who was the original one, the one who worked for AT&T, and he took a picture of room 641. What was his name? I forgot his name already.
He's the guy that reported about the room on Folsom Street. I can't remember his name, but on cryptome.org is the court transcripts from that. It's very, very revealing.
Yeah, it essentially vindicates everything he said, so that's interesting. It's very interesting.
The problem I have is that you can't have a representative government if it's a secret government, and that's really a problem.
Yeah. So watch those videos. Scullibus put this on the website. Put this in the tech. NSA has total access via Microsoft Windows. And he linked to an article. So Scullibus, thank you very much for that. Very helpful. Now here's the article. The NSA has total access via Microsoft Windows. Now, they do have access, but like you were telling me, this is similar to like what they've had with Lotus Notes. They do not actually have access. They can't sit there and watch you play video games, and they probably don't care about you playing video games. They probably don't care about your chats and your IMs. But you never know, because what you think is good may not be what they think is good. So, I mean, who knows? But that's not what's going on. They do have access, and Wendell, I'll let you explain how this works.
Yeah, this type of thing is like the Lotus Notes situation that we reported on earlier, where, Lotus Notes, this is an article from like 10 years ago, but Lotus Notes had an encryption key in it, and when Lotus Notes was allowed to be exported to certain, let's call them unfriendly companies, or unfriendly countries, the NSA sort of knew part of what that encryption key was. They didn't know the whole thing, but they knew enough to make it way easier to guess what those encryption keys are.
Well, wasn't it like 128-bit encryption, but the NSA had the first so many keys, and they were guaranteed
like the first 40 bits or something.
Yeah, the first 40 bits were this, and then that made the rest of it. You could crack it with a laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal. So that's kind of what's going on with Windows right now. If they see something that's suspicious, they can crack it, and they can look if they need to. But
I don't necessarily know that is probably okay from an intelligence standpoint. It's the bulk and mass recording it and storing it forever that I think is, especially of American citizens, that is, I don't think, reasonable under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. Tim Berners-Lee, there's an article from Tim Berners-Lee, one of the inventors of the World Wide Web, and he's like, this is an incredible level of government hypocrisy, and he's talking about the same MSNBC articles and things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because he says that we've been condemning countries in the Middle East, China, and all that sort of thing while we're doing the same things. So there's that. Let's talk about Snowden for just one moment, because Snowden right now is sort of in limbo. America sort of expects Russia to hand him over, but Russia's kind of not saying anything, and Obama's like, hey guys, we're friends, right? You guys should just do this for us because we're friends. And he's seeking asylum in Ecuador. Of course, the United States has said if he goes to Ecuador and Ecuador grants him asylum, then we're definitely going to cut off all of our trade relationship with Ecuador. So the Ecuadorian president comes out and says, you know what, we renounce the U.S. trade benefits, and we will even offer up $23 million per year to finance human rights training in the United States of America. And $23 million a year, that's what they were getting from the benefits of the U.S. trade. So that's kind of funny.
The craziest thing about all this, though, is that it's changing the narrative from, oh my God, all these terrible things are happening to American citizens in terms of monitoring and recording and their data is being searched, to there's all these evil countries that are harboring a fugitive. And it's like, how did they do that? How did they change the narrative?
Yeah, it's kind of a cheeky thing, but it gets you thinking, and it also it does kind of make America look like an ass, and that can be bad for our foreign policy all over the world. But something interesting about this, Ecuador, they're not actually known for being the most. I mean, they seem really liberal, and they've got Julian Assange, but they've got some human rights violations as well, and they've been doing some sneaky things as well, like copyright censorship. They're not exactly the best country in the world. They're not Switzerland, okay? So for them to be pointing at us, I mean, they need to look at their own sins, but I just think that's really funny. So for the last couple of weeks, Google they've been really aggressive about this. They've been saying that it is their constitutional right to publish the NSA requests. I think this is a business decision. They've been begging for the right to publish these things. And I think what they're trying to do is, by getting the right to publish these things, they would likely greatly reduce their requests, because the NSA is probably making a gazillion requests. They're probably requesting anything. And if those were made public, the public would freak out. So the number of requests would go down, and it would be cheaper for Google to deal with. I think that's what's going on here. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that Google is saying that, this process ought to be more transparent. Just as when a regular warrant is served, the warrant is usually at least a part of the public record. The warrant itself may be sealed, but, the record of its existence and blah, 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 that's in the public record. But none of this is. These are just orders to turn over stuff, and they're warrantless. And because they're warrantless, shouldn't they be under a higher level of scrutiny?
I think it's really funny because Obama keeps saying that, this stuff is transparent, but no.
Yeah, he had the interview, and he's like, no, we have the FISA court, and the FISA court is totally transparent. But PolitiFact actually rated that claim pants on fire, which is really great. You should go there just for the animated GIF.
Is that like the lowest form? Like pants on fire is like the lowest form or whatever?
Yeah, when a politician says something and PolitiFact rates it pants on fire, it is just gallingly false.
Wow. All right, you ready to talk about hardware and get over all this saddening news?
Yeah, let's get back to technology. We just had a platform launch. We've got like 50 motherboard videos, and we've got more coming, and it's just going to be, from different vendors and stuff too. But it's just going to be crazy.
I'm traveling, and you keep telling me that like boxes are piling up. I'm not even going to be able to see the studio when I get back. What all has come in since I've been gone?
Oh my goodness, you just don't even know. I mean, we've got a ton of hardware to go over. I mean, this is a platform launch. This is the busiest time for us. Platform launch, and we've got, a new NVIDIA launch at the same time, and so trying to cover all this hardware from all these different vendors is crazy.
Yep, it is a bit ridiculous. So we've got anything from, people online, I know you guys out there like another Asus video. There's a lot of Asus videos. We shot like 30 videos in like a day and a half. A lot of people think that JJ is living in Kentucky with us right now. And that's true. He's living at the bed and breakfast, having awkward breakfasts every day.
No,
totally
it's
true.
not even. It's not even that. It's like it's a new platform launch, and we wanted to get as many different parts as possible because not everybody wants to buy the $400 motherboard. It's like there's a bunch of different options. And so, we ask everybody is like, please send us, all the samples that you possibly can. And Asus is like, well, you can't have everything, but you can have JJ. And it's like, okay, that'd be cool. Yeah. And so JJ brought like 50 motherboards, and we looked at all of them.
And I think it was helpful. I mean, it would be better in the future if we had a larger staff to have like multiple companies come and help us. But let me say something to all of you guys out there that are complaining about all the Asus videos. They're good products, number one. Number two, if you're not in the market for a product like that or you don't care, then you don't have to watch the video. I'm not coming to your house and smacking your head into the screen and forcing you to watch it, so there's no reason to go and click and watch it and then complain about what you're watching. I don't understand what you're doing. So,
and it's a platform launch. I want to know all things Haswell. I must know everything Haswell. I must know.
Use it as a learning experience. There'll be a few more Asus videos, and I'm not going to apologize for it. So if you go in there and complain, then you're the idiot for watching a video you didn't want to watch.
We still got to cover the workstation boards too, because guess what? I've got to buy 50 of.
The workstation boards. I want to buy a workstation board. I've been recommending those things in the forum. Those things are amazing. If someone says they're building a video editing machine or whatever, and they're also a gamer, I kind of want one of those workstation boards. Make an ITX. Okay, Apple. Let's talk about Apple. They want to combine all of the ports into an all-in-one slot. And, this is because they're releasing these devices that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and their laptops are just not sleek enough if they've got, you've got the power plug, you've got Thunderbolt, you've got FireWire, you've got FireWire 800, I think. Is that what they're doing now, or what do they have, like something else? I don't even know. They've got USB 3, they've got USB 2, they've got, a plug that goes straight to your mom. Oh.
Well, I think this picture is actually a little misleading because this looks like an old Mac.
It is.
And I think now it's just USB and Thunderbolt, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, who wrote this Extreme Tech? They're going for this shock value of 90 ports. Oh my god!
I'm an Apple user. I can't handle more than 3 kinds of ports.
So here's this newfangled port. I didn't read the entire article. I got bored. But is it going to be a dongle? God, that would be, because that would be even more ridiculous than, I mean, just having a big snaky dongle. I don't think that's what it's going to be.
Well, they did that with their HDMI adapter, like their HDMI Thunderbolt. No, not Thunderbolt. Their Lightning that they've got in their iPods and iPads. The HDMI adapter for that is some sort of weird H.264 decoder chip in the cable. And so you have to have like you have to have like $100 cable because it sends a different kind of stream to the chip in the cable, which then decodes it to HDMI.
Who the hell thought it was a good idea to put a decoder in a cable?
Yeah, well, their engineering reasoning is that there could be a new standard, like the TVs could show up with a DisplayPort tomorrow, and they need a solution for that. So they, instead of putting an HDMI chip in the cable, they could put a DisplayPort chip in the cable. And so I could kind of see that, but it just smacks of over-engineering to solve a problem that's not really there.
AMD's leaked some new Kabini model numbers. We've got a few of them here. They're quad cores, A6 5200, A6 5250. So those look pretty cool. We've got some dual cores as well, A6 5100 and A6 5150. Low power, all-in-one solutions. It's nice to have those things. I quite like them. And we also have the new Catalyst drivers for Windows 8.1. Have you used those yet? I know are you running Windows 8.1, Wendell?
No. Well, we've got a preview. We've got another video for that coming out soon, hopefully.
Another rant video to get 1.5 million hits and 1 million people yelling and screaming at us in all directions. I love it.
It's like almost they looked at the video and went like item by item, fixing all the stuff that we complained about almost.
Should we take credit for all the stuff that happened in Windows 8.1? Should we call Microsoft and ask for money?
Because, a lot of the negative comments were, oh, well, this is like this on purpose. And it's like, well, just because it's like that on purpose doesn't mean it's smart.
All right. Any more hardware to talk about? I guess we've just got a lot of hardware videos coming up. I mean, there's a lot of hardware stuff
we've got a ton of hardware videos coming up. A lot of micro builds are definitely in our future.
Yeah. Oh.
On both platforms.
You said micro build, and I thought of like the opposite, the biggest thing ever. Did you see EVGA's new X79 board? It's been kind of floating around. They released some pictures of it, the X79 Dark.
No, I haven't seen it. What's up with it?
Well, the first X79 was not that good, and now they're promising this one's been redesigned from the ground up, and it looks pretty awesome. But I emailed my guy to EVGA and said, hey, man, what's up with this board? I want to get all the details. But it looks... I mean, most of the comments that I saw were like, yes, this is what an EVGA board should be. So hopefully they'll fix all the wrongs with the first X79 FTW board. Because I wanted that one.
Hopefully that'll be out in time for the Ivy Bridge E launch.
Yeah, hopefully. That's coming up pretty soon, and we'll be all over that. All right, science. Researchers, newly found planets may support life. So that's pretty cool. You guys can read that article here on CNN if you're interested. If you're an interesting person, you may want to check this out. But if you're a dull doofus, don't look at it. But what I want to talk about is warp drives, because there's planets out there. They may have life, they may not have life, but what good are they if we can't get there? Well, they're actually making progress on warp drives. That's right, FTL, space warp drives.
They figured out a way to conserve a bunch of energy so we wouldn't need to, say, vaporize Jupiter to get to Alpha Centauri. So
we've been talking about this a lot, guys. Well, we'll keep on top of this. I don't think there's any real new information, but they have been, making progress. This is just the newest article. Whenever one comes out, I get a little excited. I kind of want warp drives just so I can go from, like, here to California in a minute. That'd be nice.
Well, okay, what you need for that is a transverse wormhole from here to California in a minute. That would totally revolutionize, like, subway, like a transverse wormhole subway. It's like, that would be awesome.
We should work on one of those in your basement. It would probably make a couple dollars if we actually do it. So.
The problem is atmospheric equalization, because the air pressure in California may be higher than here, and dealing with that's a real pain.
Well, we'll figure it out. I'm sure we will. The basement is inspiring. So, Anna Malkazinski, I think I said that right. She's probably going to call and be like, nope. 15-year-old girl has invented a flashlight. It's powered by the warmth of your hands. No batteries needed. And this is just part of like a school project or whatever. And it's just a hollow flashlight. That's what she calls it, the hollow flashlight. No moving parts. no batteries. Why did it take a 15-year-old girl to think this up? Couldn't somebody else think? Oh, people want to sell batteries. That's why. They probably thought about it and they're like, shut up, Steve. Idiot Steve over there with his batteryless flashlight.
I thought it was interesting that she said...
It would be. Say again?
Oh, I thought it was interesting that she was... it said she was inspired by Tesla.
Yeah. Tesla's kind of a bad word in corporations and a good word in science. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Inspired by Tesla. Pistol Off Screen just said this would be great in survival situations, and it really would be. I mean, I think every trekker should have one of these in their backpack. And not talking about Star Trek. I'm talking about people that trek into the wilderness. You know what I mean? It would be really, really handy to have. I was looking for games to play this last week, and just like every AAA title has been kind of a turnoff. I've been like, I know what to expect with AAA titles. So I really want to see Unity come to more devices, and it's happening. Now, so Unity 3D is going to be supporting the next-gen consoles. Microsoft said that Unity 3D is going to work with, I guess not Microsoft, I guess Unity said that they're going to be working with Microsoft to make sure that Unity works on all of the Windows platforms, including Xbox One. That means the Windows Store, the App Store. So now you'll be able to make like cheesy little Unity games and throw them in the App Store. You can make Windows games, Linux games, Mac games, pretty much everything with it. Now here's the problem I have with this. If you make a Unity game and you want to publish it to Xbox One, you cannot self-publish. But the guys at Sony and PlayStation 4, well, they're going to be working with Unity, and they will allow indie titles to be self-published. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of a curating process here, because I can't imagine that they just allow any game to go up there. Like, just Bob uploads, Bob's Bathroom Adventure, where he just sits on the toilet and that's the video game. Well, that'd probably be a pretty good game. I bet a lot of people would buy that. Especially when you take into account that a couple of years ago, the #1 app was the iPhone fart generator on the Apple Store. Well, I think what Microsoft wants to do is what they've done with the Xbox 360 and a lot of the indie games that were... I was really looking forward to a lot of these games, and something would happen with the indie development company, and then all of a sudden they would be Microsoft Studios, like Cly Entertainment. I like a lot of the games that they make, like Mark of the Ninja and Shank 2. But they always come to Xbox 360 first, because Microsoft said, hey, do you want to be on Xbox? Well, then you got to talk to us, and you got to use Microsoft Game Studios. And then you got to sign an exclusive contract for 6 months, and it can't go to PC until then. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of indie games. And that kind of pisses me off, because think about it. A lot of the indie games that we really love to play are going to go to Microsoft, and they're going to force them to sign a contract. But the indie game companies are going to realize, you know what, if we go with Xbox One, we're going to make a good amount of money, and then 6 months later we can bring it to PC. So if you're an indie game developer, don't do it. Go to PlayStation 4 or Good Old Games. And Microsoft, please reconsider. I'm going to say Sony has already won this console war, but Google is making a console. They're building an Android console. So... the Ouya comes out. Ouya. Ouya? It's the Ouya? All right, Pistol Off Screen is saying it's the Ouya, not the Ouya. Okay, so
I just can't take that console seriously.
Yeah, the Ouya. Ouya. That sounds like the guy from Rise of the Triad. Ooh, when you get God mode. Do you remember that game? Rise of the Triad? When you get God mode, you just run around going, ooh. This is going to be a terrible video. So anyway, the Ouya. People are kind of making fun of that on the internet, and I released an upset article about that. I think Google looked at all this and just kind of facepalmed and went, oh, damn it. We're going to make an Android console. So Google is going to be making an Android console. This could be pretty crazy. I don't know. What do you make of this?
I think it's only a matter of time because there are so many Android games that it makes sense. But, the Google console is probably going to have a proper graphics setup. NVIDIA is licensing their technology to mobile platforms and things like that. And so we may actually see a viable platform with decent graphics that integrates with the Android Play Store.
Yeah. So we'll probably see better graphics. We'll probably also see better support. And you know what I'm thinking? I think Google has the the thing I had a problem with Ouya, they didn't have any flagship games. I mean, they just thought that they were going to just throw it up there and get a bunch of Android games together, and then that was going to be it. I think Google is smart enough to know that they need some console-selling games, and I think they're going to approach some developers and say, hey, get your amazing game and put it on our console. So they may have some really awesome games that come out with the launch of the console, some console-selling games. That's what they need.
Well, I think that the other thing with this Google console is that this is going to be a convenient way so that Google Play music and movies and apps can be hooked up to your stereo and to your television and in your living room. So it's not really about gaming consoles, although that's one more way to get in the living room. But once you got this device in the living room, you can have, Google Music, which has been really, really successful as a music subscription service. And you've got all your video and your media, and so Google may have the living room figured out with the Google console.
Well, I'm going to add to that as well. What about beyond the living room? Have you seen their newest game called Ingress? It's made by Google, and it's a game that it basically turns the GPS into a game. You run around, and everything is a portal. You hack the portals. You take ownership of the portals. It's like the biggest game of King of the Hill ever. And Pistol's been playing this a lot, so I've been hearing her phone like blip and beep every time we go anywhere. It's like, there's a statue. Let me capture this control point. Or let me put a portal here, and then I'm going to put some what do you call them? Resonators. Yeah, I like to take down anybody else. And Kane was playing this all over New York City. Like he knew where all the portals were around his building. It's like, oh, there's one over here. There's one by the fountain. There's one by the post office for sure. We've got to go over there and add some resonators. But if we think about it that way, I mean, this console could be something that is not only for the living room, but is for everywhere. Who knows? I mean, because they're really thinking outside of the box as far as what games are right now. And a lot of people are playing Ingress, even though it's already in beta. A lot of people are playing it.
Is anybody else doing anything interesting with augmented reality games? Because augmented reality games could be the next big thing.
I don't know. In the way people are taking to this game, you could be right, but I really don't know. I'm sure people in the comments can let us know. The better place to do it is hop onto our website, because then I look at those comments more, and we have more of an intelligent conversation, it seems, than we do here on YouTube. Sorry, guys, on YouTube. But the smart ones are on our website. They are. So if you guys know of any augmented reality games, just post them up there, and we'll talk about them. Maybe we'll start looking at some of them, or maybe we'll start playing them. We should start like some of our own augmented reality games. Like a nationwide version of Dungeons and Vampire: The Masquerade Ball. Yeah. Speaking of getting together and playing games, there's now a LAN party tax in Sweden, and one of our Swedish members sent this article over. It's kind of ridiculous. There are different levels of LAN party, different sizes of LAN party, and different taxes that you're going to have to pay based upon the size of your LAN party. So public gatherings now are taxable. And there's a bunch of people here complaining about it on the Darkfall Online forum. Just some interesting stuff to read. It seems a bit ridiculous to tax gamers when they get together and play, unless there's some business going on. Maybe if they're like selling stuff, selling hot dogs, or maybe if there's sponsors involved, maybe you'd have to tax it. But wouldn't there already be taxes involved if you were making a profit? I don't understand why they would tax a gathering.
This is so ludicrous that probably somebody in our audience who's actually in Sweden will need to tell us what this is, because it probably is meant for commercial organizations or something. This would be like somebody in America actually passing a law that says that there has to be a Super Bowl Sunday tax or something. It's just so audacious that no, this is not. This is crazy.
Well, I mean, LAN parties are big in Sweden. That's where DreamHack is, and I've been trying to get over to see DreamHack for a while. It's the biggest LAN party in the world. And it's really not going to affect them, because they're so big that they get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sponsors, and it's only going to cost them like 4,000 or 5,000 euro. So I don't think it's going to really affect them, but this could affect some smaller organizations. So if you're in Sweden and you know more about this, let us know exactly what's going on with this, because I'm curious, and I just can't believe that they would legislate some nonsense like this. It seems far-fetched, but if it's real, then I'm sorry. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we have LAN parties at the office, and if we had to, pay a tax every time we had a LAN party at the office, it would be like, no.
Yeah, that would be. Well, we probably just wouldn't say anything and then have to worry about people coming in, like a raid, LAN party raids, because it's kicking down the door.
You guys, these computers are here all the time.
Yeah, and we just happen to be working on. I don't know. You guys are playing games. Tax.
We're debugging this game. We have to. We're debugging. We're not playing. We're debugging.
So anyway, that's pretty much all we have to talk about today. Unless you got anything else to add.
No, that's it. It's pretty quiet otherwise. I mean, other than the whole like NSA spying on all the citizens and recording all the phone calls and some, Haswell platform launches because everybody, I mean, motherboards are still coming out and video cards are still coming out every day. It's crazy. Other than that, everything's cool.
Yeah, I can't keep up with it. It's too much stuff. We need like
welcome to a platform launch, guys. This is how it is when you got a platform launch. You guys don't know how to react because you've never had coverage this comprehensive.
It's raining hardware. All right, subscribe. Yeah. It's over there. Don't forget we got new T-shirts coming in this week. So some of you guys who have been waiting to get a T-shirt like this or one of the logo T-shirts, I'm getting them in slate gray or like what they call it, charcoal, and we're also getting them in black. So just keep an eye on the store. We've got new shirts coming. Zweihander's doing well, and then if you need games, you guys just go ahead and click on the link to the Good Old Games sale. I have like 75 games on Good Old Games now, and I keep buying I love no DRM and I like indie games. So if you're like that, then do it. I'm trying to move everybody over to no DRM platforms. It's like my goal. I keep pushing Good Old Games. Like I've been blogging about it and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just awesome. Anyway, that's all I have to say. And Hellraid. Yes, you guys want to go check out that as well. I'll put a link on the screen. But there's a lot of new interesting games coming out. Just keep your eyes on the damn website if you don't want to miss them. But now you've got me to tell you that you should go click on Hellraid. It's like Painkiller meets Serious Sam meets Skyrim meets Rune meets a bunch of other Doom. It just looks like a fun game, and it's going to be co-op. So we'll have some co-op nights with that and stream it and all that. But take a look at that, and bye. That's all of it.